Hi, welcome to another episode of Book Covers DIY. Today's tutorial is a viewer request. Unboxed with Alex asked for a werewolf romance book cover. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's get started. So here we are on canva.com. This is that free website we use for all of our book covers. Once you register and log in, you'll be taken to a homepage that looks similar to this. Right across the center, you should be able to find book cover. If not, you can simply type it into the search bar, and it's going to take you over to the book cover templates page. Here you will find over 5,000 pre-made book covers. You can scroll through here and find one that you like and customize it to make it your own. But as always, I like to start from scratch, so we're going to scroll right back up to the top and select the first option, create a blank book cover. That's going to take us over to our design studio. Now today, since we're focusing on the design aspect, we are going to be creating a front cover only. But if you're needing a full book cover for print, then you can still watch today's video for design inspiration and then hop on over to my print book cover tutorial. In that video, I'll show you how to calculate the dimensions for your book cover, as well as go on to design the back cover as well as the spine. You can find the link to that video in the description box below. Also, we are going to be working on 2 designs today, but make sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a sneak peek at 2 additional designs that we're going to be doing over in our members area. So make sure to watch to the very end. So here we are in our design area. Here on the right is our book cover, which is currently blank. And over here on the left, you can see we have all of our tools and our toolbox. Now, I always like to start with a photo or a graphic. It sort of sets the tone for the color scheme as well as the font choice. So let's go on over to elements. This is our second option here in our tools, and we're just going to click in there. Now up in our search bar, let's just type in werewolf and see what kind of results we get. Okay, so we have an option of graphics or photos. I think for today I'm going to go with photos, so I'm going to click on see all. Now you can always switch back and forth. If you look right here at the top, see, I can just go to graphics, which we might pick a few elements from there, but as far as the background, these are a little bit too cartoony for what style we're going for today. So I'm going to hop back on over to photos. Now you will notice some of these images have a crown, and when you hover over them, it says Pro. That means that those photos are only available with Canva Pro, which is the paid version. If you would like to filter those out, just come on up to the top and you will see 3 lines with 3 circles. Click in there, and this is where you can filter down your results. So if you only want free images, then you will come down here to price and click on free. Then just click off to the side and you can see all of those photos with the crown have been removed. Now I have Canva Pro, so I'm going to uncheck that and click off to the side, and now I have all the results again. All right, the first thing I want to do is choose background. Let's click on a few and see which ones we like. Okay, so that one's pretty interesting there. Here's one here. I definitely want to have that moonlight. There's another one here. Kind of like this purple. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just kind of get an idea of what these would look like as the background. So I'm going to click on this first one here, and you can see when you click on it, you get a little dot around each corner. If you click on one of the dots, hold it and stretch the photo, you can stretch it to the full size of your canvas. Now you will notice that it is being blocked by these front photos. What we can do is come up here to position. If you click in there, it's going to default to the arrange tab. We want to click on layers, and here's where we can see all of the photos in our design. So this one right here is highlighted purple because that is the one that we have currently clicked. If we want to see this one, we need to click on it and drag it to the top. And now it is the top page or top photo in our design. So now what we can do is just kind of reposition it to see what it would look like, and click off to the side and decide if we like it. I think this would be great if it was a werewolf horror story, like a Stephen King-ish type of story. But as far as romance, no, this is going to be a little bit too violent for that. So this one's not going to work. I'm just going to click on it again. And when I click on it, you can see I have a tiny little toolbar down here. Sometimes it'll be at the top, sometimes at the bottom. I'm going to delete it by clicking on the trash can. So now we have our 3 photos. Let's do the same thing with this one. I'm going to stretch this one out. I think this one might not work because that dog is going to get cut off. Yeah, I don't like the way the moon's getting cut off and the dog. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. I kind of like this spooky background, so I'm just stretching it again by grabbing the corner. Okay, so that one is a contender for the background. Let's check out the purple one. I like this one too, but you know what? I'm just trying to picture, because we're also going to add a guy to this, and I'm just thinking about, you know, the final result. So I think I'm going to go with the blue one today. All right, let's click on the purple and delete that. Okay, so now we're going to just completely stretch this one to the full length. Right now I'm just going to kind of probably place it in the center, and we can readjust it as we go. Now I want to find a guy. There's another guy here. No, not that one. I'm just deleting it. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come up here to the search bar, clear it by clicking on the little X, and let's just type in shirtless man, I guess. So here we go. Under photos, we're going to click on see all. And okay, so here are our results. Again, you can filter out the pro results by clicking in there, click on free, click off to the side. You know what? I think I like this one here. Let's click on that one. Okay, and let's go ahead and clear out these guys so you don't have to be stuck looking at that. Okay, so now you'll notice this guy here has a gray background. I'm going to show you a cool feature in Canva where you can remove that. So let's click on the photo, make sure we've clicked on this photo, not the background. And then we're going to click on Edit Image. Make sure you're under the Effects tab. The first category is Magic Studio. Now I do have to let you know that these are all part of Canva Pro. See the little crown in the corner? So you will need the Pro version in order to access this. Or if not, you can just look for a photo of a guy that does not have a background. But also Canva usually has a 1-month free trial, so you can always join so that you can have access to this feature. Okay, so I'm going to click on Background Remover. It's going to automatically work. See, like just in a matter of seconds, it already removed the background. So you can see now it's like the guy's a cutout, right? If for some reason any portion of the background was left, all we have to do is click in the lines. Let's say there was a little portion over here. Make sure you're on the erase option, and then you would kind of just erase it over here. If it cut off too much, we would click on the restore, and then we would click on the part we wanted to restore. So you can see I just restored some of the background, so I need to go and erase that. So I'm just going to switch to erase. You can also adjust your brush size. See right here, it's small. We can make it larger by using this slider. And now I'm just going to erase that. Okay, it looks pretty good. So once we're happy with it, we just click on Edit Image, and it sends us back to the canvas. Okay, so now we have our guy here. Of course, it doesn't really fit in because the background is all blue and he's in black and white. Also, we've covered up that dog. Let's click on the background and we're gonna slide it over. I wanna make sure, I know I keep calling it dog. Werewolf, wolf, whatever. Okay, so I think I wanna put it right there. I wanna make sure we can see. And then I'm gonna click off to the side. Now the guy, I'm probably gonna move over a little bit. Oh, I think the dog fits nicely right in here, in the curve of his arm. Okay, so now I want to adjust the coloring on this guy so he blends in with the background. So while we have clicked on the front photo of the guy, we're going to come up here to Edit Image. We're going to go down to the next category, which is Filters. And this is a free. You don't have to have Canva Pro to use filters. So right here next to Filters, we're going to click on See All. Cool should add some blue. Like here's a polar. You can see it kind of turned blue there. There's an amethyst, but that's going to be more purple. Okay, I think we're going to start with polar, and then we're going to kind of tweak that over in the manual adjustments. Okay, so once we have selected one of the filters, if you didn't like any of the filters, you can just click on none and it'll revert back to the original image like that. I'm going to go back to polar. Okay, and then when you want to get out of there, just go to this back arrow, and it's going to send us back to the special effects area. Now this time I want to move over to this middle tab, Adjust. This is where your manual adjustments are. If you click in there, we're going to get all of these different sliders. First thing I want to do is adjust the temperature. You can see it's blue to the left and orange to the right. So I want to go more blue because I'm trying to make sure he blends in well with the background. I guess I'm going to go all the way to -100. Now here's the tint. This is going to be more green. This is more purple. Let's see. It's going to turn him purple. It's going to turn him greenish blue. So I need kind of somewhere in between. Maybe a 10, go adjust the brightness, contrast, things like that. So you will do this for your own photo until you're happy with how it looks. Okay, so once I've gotten all the way to the bottom, I think I'm going to come back up to the tint and adjust that. Sometimes you need to go back and adjust these after you've made all those other adjustments. All right, I think that looks pretty good. If you, again, are unhappy with your results or the changes you've made, you can just click on Reset Adjustments and it will revert it back. Okay, so once you're happy, just click off to the side. We can always adjust our background photo. Just click on your background photo, and then the same thing, we're gonna click on Edit Image. You can either go to Filters, click on See All, and you can try out some of these. Let's go into the cool. I'm kind of liking that polar again, because that's what we chose for him. Okay, then we can do the same thing. We can come up here to the back arrow, and let's go to the Manual Adjustments, and we can adjust that as well. I don't think the temperature needs to be changed. Probably maybe just the brightness and the contrast. Make those shadows a little bit darker. And then once we're happy with our adjustments, we can just click off to the side and they will be set in place. We can move on to our title. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to our toolbar and I'm going to select text, and you can see our toolbox changed. Canva has added a ton of pre-made titles. All right, let's choose this one so that way I can show you how it works if you do choose a pre-made one. And you notice this one does not have the crown, so this is a free option. I'm just going to click on that one and it's going to appear over here. A little toolbox appears and it says Ungroup. That means that there are 2 text boxes in here. So if you click on Ungroup, you're going to see a second purple box appears. Let me click off to the side, and then now when I click on it again, you can see I can separate them, but you can't separate them until you click on Ungroup. Now I like this one, I don't particularly like this one, so I'm going to delete this one here by clicking on the trash can. And the first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and just change this to white because it's hard to see the blue on blue. To change the color, come up here to this A, and sometimes it has a rainbow line beneath it if you haven't selected a color. So we're going to click in there, and then our toolbox is going to change again. So now we have all of our color palettes. Down at the bottom, you'll find default colors. When you click on them, the font will change. You can see there. And then in the middle section here, it says photo colors. Anytime you select a photo in Canva, as we have done here, we have 2 photos. There's the background, and then there's the foreground with the guy. Anytime you select a photo or upload your own photo, Canva will create a palette of colors from that photo. So here's some of the blues in the background and the black. Then remember, our photo was originally black and white, so we have all these gray tones here. Again, I'm just going to select plain white. If there's a color that you're not seeing in the default colors or in the photo colors, and you wanted to customize your own, just come up here to this rainbow box with the plus sign, click in there, and now you have these sliders. So I like to start with the bottom slider, this rainbow bar here. That's where you select your base color. So for instance, let's say I wanted sort of a teal or turquoise. I would place the slider here between the blue and the green, and then the top slider adjust your shade. So if you look over here, as I'm moving the slider along, the shade of blue or teal or turquoise is changing. Let me do that again in yellow so you can see how it changes. Or you could choose a color like this blue and then go in there and then adjust it to a lighter blue or purple or something like that. Okay, so for today I'm just going to choose white right now. Now let's go ahead and change the title. Let's call this, let's see how it looks in all, okay, no, it does not look good in all caps. Some fonts you can get away with all caps and some you can't. This one you cannot, it does not look good. So for this one, I'm only going to place the W in caps. And then I need to make this larger, but first let me drag this side bar in, and then I'm going to place it up here. And now to increase the font size, you can either grab one of the corners and stretch it out, or you can come up here to the size selector, but it only goes to 144, or you can use the plus and minus. I prefer to just grab the corner and stretch it. Okay, now if you did not like any of these pre-made titles, you could just scroll back up and you could click on add a heading. It would put a blank text box over here, and then you would just type in your title word, and then you could come up here to this drop down, and then here's where your toolbox changes and you're going to get all of your font choices. So all you would have to do is scroll through here and click on different font choices. You can see over here it's changing. That's a nice one. That's Cinzel. Here's another nice one. So that's how you would select a font. If you did not want to choose one of those pre-made titles, you would just come in here and find one that you liked. Okay, but I'm going to delete that because I'm happy with this one. Okay, before we add our second word, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this one. So just make sure you have selected your text box, and then you're going to come up here to effects. Oh, so it already did have an effect on it because it was pre-made. It had a lift on it, which is sort of an overall. Let me zoom in to show you what a lift looks like. Might be hard to see on this dark background. Let me put it down here on the blue. Okay, so right now the intensity is at 10. I'm going to put it back at 0. And if you look between the letters, you're going to see it get darker as I increase it to 100. So see how it got sort of an overall blurry shadow? That's what lift does. I'm not going to use lift today. I think I'm going to use maybe just a regular shadow. I'm going to leave it zoomed in so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to click on shadow, and it creates a shadow in the same color. So it's going to default to whatever color the font is in. But I want to change that. I think I want to go with maybe a black. So once you have clicked on shadow, go down here to this little rainbow color box, click in there, and you're going to get your color palettes. I'm going to scroll down to default colors and just select black, although it looks blue because the transparency is set at 40. I want to actually increase that all the way to 100. I want a solid shadow, but also I don't like the distance that the shadow is, especially from this W. So I'm going to come up here to offset. Right now it's set as 50. I'm going to decrease that, and you can see the shadow. Let me increase it. See how it gets further away? Let me decrease it. I usually like it about 35 or 30. Let's see. Okay, we'll go with 30 for right now. Okay, so once you're happy with that, just click off to the side, and then let's go ahead and zoom back out. Okay, so now let me click on that text and move it back up again. Okay, so now once I'm happy with how this first word looks, I'm going to add a second word. We're going to call this wolf moon. I can either come over here and go through the same process of selecting the font and all that and the color and everything, but a simpler way is to just click on your original title, and to the left of the trash can, you're going to see it says duplicate. I'm just going to click in there, and you can see it created a second text box with all of my adjustments already made. I'm just going to backspace, and I don't think I want the capital on the M. I'm going to put it all in lowercase, and then I'm going to make that smaller. I kind of want to fit it into this area below, and I'm just going to line it up. One thing I'm noticing is that, we titled this Wolf Moon, but there's not actually a moon showing because we have all this shadow and stuff. Let's go and find a moon. All right, so let's come back over here to elements, and let's search for a full moon. Under photos, I'm going to click on see all. A lot of these have backgrounds. If we wanted to go with cutouts only, you can go to the filter and go to cutout and want cutouts only, and click off to the side, and you can see now we have all of these options without a background. Let's select one like this, and let's see if we can use a background remover. And let's just kind of crop it in. Okay, I like this one better, so I'm going to delete this one. And then now we're going to make some adjustments to this one. So make sure you've clicked on that moon, click on edit image, and then we are going to go under the manual adjustments, which is the center tab. Now let's try to add some blue to this one. So same thing like we did with the guy. We're adjusting the temperature, and there's too much purple in there. Let's bring that back. All right, I think that looks pretty good there. Okay, so another thing we're going to do is add a shadow to this, the same way we did with the words. So we're going to jump back to the effects tab. Again, we're still under edit image, and we're going to go down to effects, and right here it says shadows. So let's click on shadows, and then we have several options. I want to do a drop shadow, very similar to the words. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, let's bring the moon up here so you can see. So this would be considered a drop shadow. So we want to choose this one here. And you can see as soon as I clicked on it, it created this blurry shadow. I'm going to bring it back in the lighter area. I don't want it blurry. I want it pretty solid like that. So let's go to our sliders and let's increase the intensity, probably to 100. And then let's bring back the blur to maybe a 10, maybe a 5. And then let's bring back the distance. It's a little bit too far. I want it closer to the moon like that, just like the words. All right, and I think the angle is fine. The angle, it changes whether it's like to the lower right or the upper left, things like that. I think this is pretty good. And the reason I want it to match the words is because I'm actually going to get rid of this O, because our our book is titled Wolf Moon, but there's no moon in it. So I can put it up here if I wanted to, just like that, but it looks kind of weird just floating there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the text box. I'm going to delete the O, and then I'm going to hit the space bar twice. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because this is going to be replacing the O. A little bit smaller again. Well, let's just kind of fit it in there perfectly. Once we're happy with the placement, let's go ahead and group these together so that if we move the word wolf around, the moon will go with it and we won't have to keep replacing it. Okay, so click on wolf and you'll notice you can't click on the moon again. I need to go to position. Make sure you're under the layers tab. Usually defaults to arrange, so you can just click on layers. Here is wolf right here. We need to hold down shift and click on the moon layer. So now both of those are highlighted purple, and you can see over here, there's 2 purple boxes. Then you're just gonna click on group. Now when I click on group, watch over here as these 2 layers become one. See? So, and there's a little icon showing that they're combined. You can always ungroup them. Look over here and I'll ungroup them. And you can see they jump back, but I'm gonna group them again. So now anytime I wanna move that wolf around or stretch it larger or smaller, it's going to move together. Let me zoom back out. And now let's go put moon. I think we can make moon a little bit bigger now. Okay, so once you have those 2 lined up, you can do the same thing. You can click on wolf, hold down shift, click on moon. You have them both in a dotted line box. All you have to do is click on group. And now you have one solid purple box again. Now we just need to write our author name. We can just go back to text. This time let's add a subheading. So it's going to give us a smaller text box. Probably going to bring down here into this dark space. Let's think of an author name. Okay, so Anne Rice wrote the vampire novels. Let's say Diane Bryce writes the wolf stories. Okay, so again, it defaults to Canva Sans. I want to change that, so I'm going to click in there. Now, if I want to use this same font that we find here, if you forget the name of the font you've chosen, just scroll up to the top and under Document Fonts, you're going to see here it says Canva Sans. There's a check mark because that's what it currently is. But right beneath it, you'll see a list of the different fonts you've used. So these up here are written in this EFCO Brookshire. So I'm going to click in there and you can see it changes to that. Let's see, let's bring it down. You know what, I don't know if I want the fancy first letters. Let me switch. Okay, yeah, I like it better with lowercase. I know it's still showing uppercase, but the difference is whether I'm holding down shift or not. So some of these fonts are going to be capital regardless, but the difference is when you hold down shift or use your caps lock, you'll get a fancier letter when you're using that. So I know I'm saying lowercase, but I just mean that I'm not using shift. Okay, so I like it like this. So we'll say we're going to place it in this corner. And I don't have to put any kind of shadow or anything because this white shows up pretty great on the black background. If I wanted to change the color, I can just come up here to text color. We can select one of these blues. You can come up in here and choose like a light blue using the slider. Kind of matches with the highlights on his torso here or the background. You can also use the eyedropper tool and we can actually go into the background, click in there, and it's going to change the match. So see, like that. I'm just going to go with white because I like the way it balances out the cover. So I'm going to go back in there and just choose plain white, and it helps balance out the title up here. Oh, you know what? There was one thing I wanted to do. Let's go back to elements. I saw something under the graphics. Type in werewolf again. Now remember we had switched back and forth between graphics and photos. I saw under graphics, I'm gonna click on see all, one of these. I think I want to add one of these. I think I like this one. There's several of them, but I think I like this one. I'm gonna click on that. Okay, now it's red, which does not match our color scheme. But if you choose a graphic and you see a little color box up here, that means you can change it. Now sometimes you will find a graphic that you can't change. Let's see. For instance, I'm just going to choose this random one right here. Okay, so this little cartoony werewolf, if you notice, there is no color box here. This is a border. You can add a border to it, but there is no color box. So I could not change this. Like if I wanted him to be purple or green, you can't do that. So I'm going to delete that. But this one, there is a color box, which means I can go in there and change it. So I can change it to black or white. Now there's different things you can do with this. If you wanted to, you could make it like a tattoo on his chest like that. Let me click off to the side. But I actually want to place it over the moon. So I'm going to make it slightly smaller. Let me zoom in, guys. I'm going to click in there and we can choose one of these dark blues. We're going to use the eyedropper tool and let's match it with the dog. So let's click on there and you can see it change. You can probably barely tell, but it's not jet black. It's sort of a midnight blue. So you can see adding just a little tiny detail like that really helps with your cover. All right, guys, I think we're done with this first cover, but as always, I like to show you a second version of the same cover just by moving a few things around. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if you wanted to start from scratch, you would click on add a page and you would have a blank canvas. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to come up to the top, to the upper right of this design and click on duplicate page. It's going to create a second page, see right here, page 2 of everything we just did. So make sure you're working on page 2 for your second version. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is probably move the guy to this side and maybe make him larger. Then the background, I think I'm going to move the dog. Let's see. Let's actually move him up and then we'll move the title. Oh, I lost the scratches. Okay. Oh, I know why, because I didn't group them with the rest of it. I'm going to bring the author name up here. Let's make the dog bigger. Okay, we're going to have this guy looking at this dog. All right, now let's move the title down here. Make it much bigger. Oh, too big. It's being cut off on the sides. Let's center it. You'll know it is centered when the solid line appears like that. And don't forget these scratches, which I forgot. Okay, if we want to group the scratches, well, before we group them, let's go ahead and change the color. I'm going to go back to this little color box and let's match maybe down here. So I'm going to get the eyedropper tool and this time we're just going to match with the dark. Again, it's not jet black, but it's very close to that. Let's make this slightly larger and center it. Okay, once we're happy with the placement, let's hold down Shift and click on the text box and group that. So now, see when we're moving it around, we don't have to worry about leaving those scratches behind. Now, since the name Diane Bryce is now in a lighter background, we do need to add a shadow to that. So I'm going to click on the author name, come up to Effects, and let me zoom in. We can add a lift and increase that, or we can add a shadow. Let's see what a shadow looks like if I choose black and I want to make it solid black, so 100%, and then let's bring that back again, maybe 35. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks better. It wasn't standing out on that background. That dog looks way too small in proportion, so let's make it much larger. And I'm going to bring it down just slightly right there to make sure that it's in his eye line because it looks like he's looking back at it. All right, guys, I think we're done with these two covers. I'm going to show you how we can download them and check them out side by side. But before we do that, I do want to give you a sneak peek at two totally different versions that I've made. The tutorial for these is going to be over in my members area. So if you are a member, you can check those out as of right now. I use a little bit more advanced techniques for those designs. If you're not a member and would like to join, just click the join. It's going to take you over to the members area and you can check out all the different tiers and things like that. But this second tutorial is live as of right now. First thing we want to do is change the project name. So we're just going to call this Wolf Moon Book Covers. And then we're going to click on share and download. It's going to default to PDF standard because it thinks we want to print. I'm going to change that because right now we're just going to check these out. So I'm going to switch to PNG. And under all pages too, yes, I want to download both. If for some reason you only wanted to download one, you would uncheck the one you don't want. Click on done and download. Right, and we just have to wait for the bar to get to the other side and then it's going to open it in a zip file. All right, so here it is in my downloads. I'm going to double click on the zip and it's going to open it in a folder. Just open the folder and then let me get these open for you and we'll check them out. All right, so here are two covers of our fake werewolf romance novel. Again, this was a request from Unboxed with Alex. Thanks for this great idea. Okay, so here on the left, we have our first cover. We started with our background, which was already this really nice blue color with these shadows, and it has this wolf here. And then we went and found our shirtless man here, which was black and white. We went into our filters and we chose like a polar, which had a little bit of blue, but then we went in the manual adjustments and made it very blue, increase the shadows and everything to help him blend with the background. And we always want our book covers to be very cohesive, so we made sure that we added all these blue highlights and shadows to blend in with the background. And then we selected a pre-made title font. We changed it so only the W was in caps. We added a black shadow and we duplicated for moon. We changed the moon to lowercase, or just not the fancy font. Then we went and found a moon. We removed the background. Oh yeah, we also used the background remover for the guy because remember he was on a gray background. Again, you will need Canva Pro for that feature, or just find a photo of a guy that does not have a background. Same thing with the moon. There were a lot of options of cutout moons, but the one I liked actually had a background. So we used the background remover. We added a special effect of the drop shadow to that. And then we replaced the O with the moon. Remember, I deleted the O and added 2 spaces. You'll want to add 2 spaces because then it would be squished and, the letters would overlap with the moon. Then we found this other graphic over in the graphics area under elements, and we just placed that over the moon. All of these we grouped together so that we can move them around. Then we just chose the same font, added our fake author name, Diane Bryce, down here. And we didn't have to add any shadow or anything because it is a white text on a black background, or almost black, more like a midnight blue. All right, and then for our second cover, all we did is we duplicated the entire first cover, and then we just moved things around. We moved the guy to this side and made him much bigger. We repositioned our background so that the wolf was on the left, and we made sure to raise it up so it looks like it's in his eye line. We brought our title down here, made it larger, and then we brought our author name up here, and we did add a shadow to that because here we have a light text on a light background. So when you have light on light, you'll either need to change the text color or add a shadow of some sort. So that's how we quickly and easily created a second cover. And it's always great to do this because then you can give your readers a choice and have them vote. Create a voting graphic that you can post on social media and just say, do you prefer cover A or cover B? I actually have a tutorial on this. You can find the link in the description box below, and I go through step by step to show you how to do that. So that's it for today's video. Again, if you want to see the more advanced tutorial with the different covers that I showed you, the sneak peek, that is in our members area. Just click join to learn how to become a member. So that's it for today. Thanks again for watching, liking, and subscribing. Until next time, bye-bye.